This one are part 2 for way Foncha be talk, the last talk, the last words of Prime Minister John Foncha. And I would like you to know that Foncha, irrespective of the fact that he had his own flaws, but he was a statesman, and we must acknowledge our statesmen. We must thank him for his sacrifices. And he went to see how they could live together with La République du Cameroun without knowing that La République du Cameroun was coming with a secondary aim. You see, these people are terrible. But nevertheless, we will not abandon our own because he made such a decision. At the end of the day, we thank him for his sacrifices. I want you to watch this video of Foncha, his last words, a continuation of the previous video I told you about. And maybe some of you are doubting why we are here today. But I think after watching this video, a lot of questions will pop up in your mind. Watch the video.
To keep people in a post was not their difficult. It was obedient to their party and keep as a subordinate. And with us, that was not possible. We were not running that much. So he had to get a new set of people, you see, who had to toe his line of action. I found myself, you see, incapable of doing things in a very awkward way, in obedience to the head of state. Because I insisted that anything that I do should reflect my own mentality. And everything that I did which was going to do that was abolished. I was charged with the president or national president or chairman of the Higher National Council for Education. And I held that post up till the time I left, or before the time I left. I had talked so much about technical education that in the end a good subsidy from the United States President, I think President Agnew, gave $10 million. That was a big sum of money at that time for technical education. And I told Ahidjo that I would like the Southern Cameroon to benefit from that 10 million by raising the technical college of Ombe to a higher technical college and institute at the beginning one in Bamenda. But Ahidjo spent all that money on his own side. Instead, I never knew that that was his ways of doing things. Instead, it is centralized, about downgraded the Ombe Trade Center Technical College to the grade of his own cap. All the heavy equipment left by the British were looted. Everything was run, and then he transferred all the British trained teachers there. He transferred them to teach secondary school. Then I had sent to the state of Wisconsin 12 teachers to study a few years for the industrial subjects in both primary school and the new colleges which might be built. Then these finished their qualification and came back about 1966. Not one of them was posted in Limbe, so they were made to teach English in other schools, and nothing was mentioned about technical education, and so on. So the University of Caste, Technical University of Caste, which was to be built, which was one of those which was to be built alongside with the University of Yaoundé. We couldn't get teachers in those days, we couldn't get funds in those days. And the United States sponsored the Peace Corps and the principal who opened the pre-university of caste in the form of higher secondary school. It grew so rapidly and got the CDC at very good rate. Their successes in the GCE advanced, especially their scientific knowledge, was high. Ahidjo and the rest, detected that and started dwarfing them in the Polytechnic of Yaoundé. So much that by 1985, the number of English students who left caste and entered with very great difficulty were under 10. All those who were entered there found the condition either so bad that they managed to leave, or those which remained. Out of the whole time since 85, under 10 out of 400 who have graduated in the Polytechnic School of Yaoundé. So I noted that Ahidjo wanted to dwarf Southern Cameroon as far as School of Technology was concerned. And later on, when he decided to decentralize the University of Yaoundé, he left the University of Caste not mentioned. He later on proposed a university for Buya. And you know how long that took. He put the name after he had been approached. I've asked him, he proposed that one. Now he didn't want to do anything with caste in order to keep the northwest and southwest, divided. So he proposed a university a university with no anything. Probably it was going to be a university of culture. He later on made it a translation bureau, as we call it. How could a whole university be for translation? And so it was built. Those buildings were with equipment, with no equipment, and with a number of teachers. What were they teaching? About less than 100 students were there for a whole university. It was recently when Paul Biya found me trying to raise so much objection for rejecting the Southern Cameroonian in the technical education, technical university of Douala. When he started trying to allow very few to enter, very few English-speaking Cameroonians to enter. Otherwise, they wanted to dwarf Southern Cameroon from any technical rising. They had found our scientific knowledge high, our secondary school organization high. They want to abolish the GCE in 85. When I stepped in, and they brutalized our students. When I stepped in to quarrel with Paul Biya, they brutalized the students. I took them to task in the Central Committee meeting, and then the only persons who could support me was the late Dr. Fonlong and Professor Ngu. And they made it clear. And during that time too, after our students were brutalized, I summoned a meeting of Endele, Muna, Egbe and myself to meet in Yaoundé and then discuss the matter with the president. The day I arrived, I flew to Yaoundé. None of them appeared. They were still my opponent. Endele did not come, Muna did not come. And so that failed. And I wrote to I wrote to Paul Biya asking him that he wants to discipline our sons and daughters out of our own intervention. I asked him whether he would be able to do that. And the security men said at that time that if the students demonstrate, they were going to shoot. I called the deputy minister in charge of Gendarmerie and asked, do they not know that that was annoying, whether when they shoot any student for demonstration, I will sit with them? Or they simply answered, well, it was a mere try to frighten them. So we don't frighten people by talking about shooting. Told him whether he had known that students in some part of the world burn themselves with petrol for protests, and whether by that frightening the English people will stop bringing their voices to be heard.
Some of you want to blame Foncha. You have the right, yes, you have the right to your opinion. Some of you want to blame Foncha. Some of you throw curses on him. But I want to ask you this question. What are you doing that Foncha did not do? This is the time to make the change. This is the time to make the change. There are some of your leaders are even worse than Foncha. Yes. Some of your leaders are worse than Foncha. Can you imagine this? But at the end of the day, this is our own opportunity. Make sure that you stand for the people. Don't become the second Foncha. Fellow Ambazonians, I hope the video was educative and informative enough. Please, videos like this, don't watch them alone. Try to share with others. Our history will not be written by some foreigners or written by one white man somewhere. It will be written by Ambazonians. And as we journey on, we will write our history ourselves, because we are witnesses to our history. The only people who have been able to see their history. It is time for us to do the right thing and give dignity to our people. Land of glory. Hail, 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 land of glory. God bless you. God bless Ambazonia.